Hello, welcome back to the Bored Book Geek. My name is Will. I'm the host of this weird internet show. I was very lucky to receive a review copy. Well, I say review copy, this is the final book, but receive a copy of Mermaid Moon from the publisher. Now, I was a little bit apprehensive when I requested this book, partly because it's a YA, but it has mermaids. And when it comes to mermaids, if you tell me there's a mermaid in a book, I'm going to read it. It's just my thing, and it always has been my thing. So, did I mention how gorgeous this is? Before we go into details, I just want to put this here because this is the cover artist information. So if you look up their work, it's really cool, and I'm going to try and find their website and put it in the link down below. Yeah, I mean, this is a gorgeous book. Like, seriously. Where do we start? I'm going to read the synopsis and then tell you what I think. She is a mermaid, except her mother was landish. The witch that delivered her cast a spell that made her people, her mother, forget her birth. She longs to find her mother so much that she apprenticed herself to a witch to learn the magic of making and unmaking, and fashion herself a pair of legs to go ashore on the 37 dark islands, the nearest anyone can remember where they left her mother. Then she stumbles into a wall of white roses and a community desperate for a miracle. This book is a fantasy novel. It's billed as a YA fantasy, and it's so much more than that. I have to admit, a lot of people think I hate YA. I really don't, and the people that say that obviously don't watch my content and just like to handpick, like that weird Star Wars person that says I just drag YA endlessly. Basically, don't think of this as a YA novel. It's far more like a modern fairy tale. So the way it's written, it feels like you're reading a Brothers Grimm, and I have a weakness for that kind of thing. I love it. So on the writing is clean and concise, it is to the point, and it keeps you on your toes because it's quite a fast pace. Again, I said with the fairy tale thing, this isn't like a book where you sit there and you just kind of go and then it slows down. This one keeps you on a very constant pace, but it's also quite emotive in parts. The characters are well written and rounded. Unlike a lot of YA fiction, the character in this is not a cutout to project yourself on. She's fully formed with a lot of personality, and that's a refreshing thing to find in this kind of book. She is fully formed, she has her flaws, she is no angel. She's a mermaid, but you get what I mean by that. You do feel like it gets very dark. I could imagine this sort of as a dark fantasy film. I'm like, Netflix, please pick this book up, because I think it would be quite an interesting show. Where are the flaws? The flaws come that there are moments that feel a little tacked on. Like, there are definitely moments within this where you go, oh, that's happening for no reason. But there's only a handful of those, and you can move past them quite quickly, and they don't ever feel forced, they just feel like they come out of nowhere. So there's no build-up to these moments, it just happens. But, that's a very small part, and that's a very small part of the flaws for me in this. Overall, I would give this book a good solid 4 out of 5, which is extremely high for me. Like, I'd never give reviews that high most of the time. I mean, if you want a book that is just this swooning dark fantasy that keeps you on your toes, that's a fast read, it's an easy read too, it's this. Mermaid Moon packs a punch, and it packs this very emotive, strong storyline, and it's ultimately about a young woman looking for her mother, looking for her life, and explaining her life and finding out who she is. Mermaid Moon is just this great story of connection, of family, of fantasy, and the world building. Like, for me, in any fantasy novel, if the world building is shit, I'm not going to be interested. This world building is good. Like, the world feels it feels alive, it feels like you're reading something where people actually live in it. Like, the world building is just good. This is a great fantasy, but try to read this not as a YA fantasy. Think of it as like you're reading a modern, dark fairy tale. And yeah, so that's Mermaid Moon. And I do want to definitely check out a lot more of her work, because I've heard really good things. I didn't know about this writer until this book. Thank you, Candlewick Press and Walker Books, for this novel. If you guys like this review, please subscribe and like for more. As always, I'm Will. I do videos 3 times a week, and I will talk to you guys later.